Hello there. Welcome to another episode of the CamerataCast. This is Andres Marquez, your host as always. Today we have a very special guest. This is Jasper Low, talent manager based out of New York, New York, and very talented musician himself as well. Why don't you take it away?
Hey y'all, what's good? Camarada gang. My name's Jasper. I'm a talent manager, I'm a songwriter, I'm based in New York, and I'm just living life and trying to progress through the music industry and just trying to help as many people along the way while I do it. So I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for wanting to be on.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, so why don't we just jump right into it? You are a talent manager. You work with a number of different clients. You work
Yes.
with one, Andrew Iglesias,
Yes.
and Kari Lin. Hopefully, I pronounced their names correctly.
Oh,
Um,
you're good. Yeah.
yeah, yes. So you have those two as your clients, at least what I can see on your website, and you also manage your own project, Empath. So why don't we start with the people outside of your solo project? How did you get into managing these artists?
Yeah, so number one, my site is ain't updated, so I actually don't manage Carrie Lynn anymore.
Oh,
Yeah.
my bad, my bad.
No, you're good. You're good. No one knew that, but it was just a very low key thing. But
Hmm.
anyways, so I just manage Andrew Iglesias and myself. Me and Andrew went to Cal Poly Pomona. Like he came in 2019. I came in like 2018. So we're like a year ish apart in terms of school, but he was just such like a down to earth guy, and I loved how he was so down to just collab with like anybody, no
Hmm.
matter how like I guess out there they were. He's just a very open guy, and I love that. He's very just like no filter and like no BS, which I like, and I resonate with that. And so let's see, fast forward to like September 2020. By this time, I like dropped out of Cal Poly Pomona, and then I moved to Toronto to go get an arts management degree and just like do some. Can I cuss on here, or do you care?
Oh
Or
yeah, yeah.
okay, cool, cool.
Say whatever you want.
Okay, cool. Yes. So just like do some shit on my own. I can't say it no other way, but like, so then this is like peak COVID. No, not peak COVID. I'd say like, it's just a weird time. So I think the most I was trying to do was just stay in touch with people and just try to be like a shoulder that they could lean on. And just, I feel like me and Andrew were just doing a lot of FaceTimes. And then he was just telling me like how he was trying to get like the music out there, write it, produce it, promote it, find a distributor, learn about royalties. And he was just like, "Yo, I don't know how you did it all on your own." And I'm like, "Yeah, I just did it. It's a lot of work."
Hmm.
And then I'm like, "Hey, like I'm literally learning like how to manage talent, so I feel like I might as well apply it." And he had like joked about me managing him like a year before. He's like, "I feel like you'd be really good at it." And I'm like, "I know I would, just because I'm like really organized and like when I want to go hard in the paint for something that I believe in, like I really do." So I've been managing him since September 2020, and yeah, we just celebrated a year, and I feel like we've come so far. And yeah,
Oh, that's wicked, dude. That's a beautiful story, honestly. That you
thank
guys
you.
already started out close, and
Yeah.
a friendship kind of relationship turned into a business relationship. That's always cool to see.
Yeah. I think like no matter what, like we're homies first. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So if like so for example, like we do like weekly meetings, like Thursdays, just to like check in. And like if like he's not up to talk about business, like I'm happy just to talk for like an hour, 2 hours just about like life and like what's going on, because like life is just so like fucking crazy right now.
Hmm.
So it's just like, like I'm a friend first. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, we definitely need more managers in the world like that.
Yeah.
Not that I've ever worked with a manager. I'm a musician myself, and I,
Oh, dope.
play with a couple bands, do my own shit, like session
Yeah,
work.
I got
Uh,
you.
Never worked with a manager though, and I don't know what the experience is like. So if you don't mind me
Mhm.
asking, um, of course, you're on the other end of the trigger when it comes to being a manager. So if you don't mind me asking, what is that experience like? Like, what is the workload? How much do you put in for the artists you work for, and how
Mhm.
much do you put in for yourself?
Yeah, so this is a multi-layered question. So I'll try to break it down bit by bit in the order you asked it. I I may ask you to run it back because I don't have the best memory, but like
Oh yeah, my bad for.
no, you're good. You're good. Don't apologize. But like, yeah, so working in music, I'm just gonna give everybody's answer. Every day's different. So
For
like,
sure, for sure.
yeah, so a lot of work I do is very remote, not just because COVID. It's because Andrew's in California. I'm in New York, but
Hmm.
so I'm. We have had some opportunities for him to come over to East Coast, and I do want to go over to West Coast just because I miss all the homies and yeah, like for example, Kyra, who's been on the podcast before, like that's my bestie. So I definitely want to go back and hit everybody up.
Oh,
But
sick! I did not
yeah,
know
yeah,
that.
yeah, that's my friend. But I would just say that here I'll run it back to just our first meeting. I
Hmm.
asked Andrew, okay, so it's September 2020 ish, like, what do you want to do? And Andrew's like, I want to get music out and like put up a website and like start producing for other people. I'm like, okay, so that's like three solid goals. Let's write them down and then let's just baby step it.
Hmm.
So, music, where's the music? You know what I mean? So, go get your music done. Let's figure out your brand. Let's figure out do you how long is the project going to be? How many singles do you want? How hard do you want to promote each single? Is there a particular single that's closer to your heart? So do you want to promote that more? Website, how much do you know about web development and like graphic design and like software building, whatever? I don't know nothing about that. So I couldn't help him with that. But I'm just
Hmm.
like, do you know anybody? What's your budget? And then just like, promoting music, just like who are people that I can bring from my network that can help him? What areas do you want to promote your music in? Where do you see yourself in a year, 5 years, blah, 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 10-year plan, all that boring shit. So it's just a matter of like, what are your clients' goals and how much do they want to achieve within X amount of time? What do they want to achieve in a year? How are you going to achieve it? What is our plan week by week? There was only two of us at the time. Now, like, I have an assistant, shout out to Ethan, that like helps us out on like our projects. So
Nice,
just
nice.
like, yeah. So because he has a little like imprint slash like label, whatever, like it's just a name he just puts down on his music. It's called Music and Love. So that's like his company. So I said, this is limitless because he owns the LLC.
Right.
So like you could slap it on like water bottles, thongs, bathing suits. What you know what I mean? Like it could be a brand. So that's
Sure.
your brand. So once you own your brand, you could do whatever you want with it, and you can make it as limitless as you want. And I think like I tell everybody that I work with, or everybody who comes to me like looking for advice, or me giving out unsolicited advice, like you need to optimize your time and maximize your potential. Excuse me. So just like how are you going to turn this song into like the biggest song ever? How are you going to make it lead to more opportunities instead of just putting it out and just expecting it to like do shit for you? Because that's like a 1 in a million like Justin Bieber YouTube chance. Like
Right.
like there's so much competition. So and like I'll be straightforward, a lot of music out there is shit. And again, music is subjective. That this was actually a really big lesson. I was watching this like interview with this producer from like Philly. He owned his own studio, and he's like, there's no such thing as bad music because it's all subjective.
Hmm.
So even if you like released like a loop of you like farting and just looped it, like somebody would dig that. You know what I mean? So it's just about finding the audience that is most attractive to your authentic self, and that's what I tell my clients too. Just like be yourself. Yeah. So just like there's no such thing as bad music and blah blah blah. I kind of forgot where I'm going, but
That's
but I'm
fine. That's
sure,
fine.
but I'm sure there's something that like people can use there. But like, yeah. Um, what? Okay. So I think I broke down like, wait, just like ask it again. My bad.
Yeah, no problem. I
Okay.
do think you had broken down the first part of the question, which is like the workload as a manager for other people.
Yeah.
And I did also want to ask, because you manage your own musical
Yes.
project, Empath, how does that work that you do for other people translate to what you do for yourself?
Yeah. So, well, I mean, like workload wise, like if we're in release season, like if it's release week, like I have to write a press release. I got to get all our context together. I got to make sure like the Spotify's right, the album art's right, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Like so,
For sure, for
release
sure.
week, I'm putting in like my whole day when I'm like not doing like day job shit. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah.
I'm putting in the whole day. But if like it's like quiet time and we're just planning stuff like BTS like behind the scenes, like it's obviously not gonna be as much work. So I think it comes in ebbs and flows. Um, and I think it depends on what type of manager you want to be and like how much energy you have. Like if you work for a company like Red Light Management and you have a roster of like 10 artists, obviously your workload is much more than mine because mine is only 2 artists. You know what I
Right.
mean? But also, if you're a manager who wants to go hard in the paint for your one client, you know, maybe you're putting in just as much work into this one client. And if so, that client is a very lucky son of a bitch.
Hmm.
But so, but for me, it's and then translating to myself, I honestly started managing because sometimes like well, I started writing music since I was 14 and then releasing it since I was 16.
Hmm.
So I used to be a SoundCloud rapper, but that got old
Let's
and
roll
like I don't think that's
Tua,
and that's honestly not
Tua
really in anymore.
Provato.
Um no, but also like real talk, I just could I was writing the same song over and over again. I was like this
Hmm.
is getting old as shit. And also just like having to like write your song, like sort of produce it, find your engineer, organize your collaboration, organize your photo shoot, like do your interview, seek out promotion, marketing, blah blah blah, like work like 80 hours a week just so you can afford to go to the studio. Like you get tired of like I guess working on yourself, and
Hmm.
that's why like management is cool because if I'm literally tired of myself, I can go work on something else. You know what I mean? So that's why like I like to have multiple ways of creating. So if like I'm having writer's block and I can't write a song, I'll go work on stuff for Andrew. If I don't work on if I'm not motivated to work on Andrew, I'll go like I'll go edit a video or I'll go cook something. You know what I mean? Like I just like to be creative and just create something. You know what I mean? Like that's really it. And then in terms of like translating it to myself, I mean, I'm finally making music that I like, and I definitely like want to share some so soon, and it's literally like almost ready. So I would just say it's just a passion. It's just about passion, like because I was kind of making music that I didn't really like. It was just very on trend, so I kind of feel like I had to make it.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's definitely more personal because I'm literally managing myself. You know what I mean? So it's just like how much do I literally believe in myself? So I would just say it like that.
Awesome. I really dig that.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I especially resonate with that part about having multiple projects to go to. Most of the people that we have on our podcast are pretty much the same way. They have,
Mhm.
different things that they do. Sometimes it's not even just music or not even their main art. Sometimes they'll go to like hobbies or secondary art forms that they enjoy. Speaking on Kyra, I know that Kyra not only creates music, but is very invested in like fashion. So
Yeah.
she would make, she makes really cool videos about fashion, and she was even featured in that Cal Poly in their like fashion magazine.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's awesome to hear that you've got multiple outlets for yourself. I think that's a very healthy uh, kind of creative life to have.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just also like sometimes I think just because of I talk about this with everybody, but just hustle culture. If you know what that means, it's like how we're so like um we always have to be working. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And it's
Yes.
so unhealthy, and I hate it because we see like Addison Rae doing a movie on Netflix, and she's like, I think she's like 19. So it's just like, why aren't I doing a movie at 19? And it's just like because you're not Addison, because life just didn't work out like that, and that's completely okay. You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
shouldn't feel bad about not being in a fucking Netflix multi-million-dollar movie at 19. But it's like because of this constant state of like, oh, someone is putting in more work than me. I'm constantly getting updates on IG and like LinkedIn about people getting promoted or just automatically working in their industry like right off the gate. And it's just like, no, quite honestly, a lot of that is background like networking and just a lot of stuff that's been set up or whatever. Just like
Yeah.
they still had to work, like don't negate that, but just like because of hustle culture, like I honestly feel like I always have to be productive, and that has kind of led me into like, like I'm doing like an internship, I'm an assistant for somebody, I'm making an album, I'm managing people, and yet I still feel like sometimes I don't do enough. And it's like and it's like why the fuck should I ever feel like that, you know what I mean? like like I'm working my absolute butt off and like quite honestly not getting as much as I think I deserve, like in terms of financially, you know what I mean, or just like return, like pay,
Yeah.
like. So it's just like that's another reason why I have multiple forms, but also, I genuinely do like doing it, but like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. But that's a bit of like a sort of negative side of like why I think a lot of people kind of tend to overwhelm themselves with too many things, and people are like, how are you doing all these things? And it's like, we're kind of not, we just feel like we have to do it to like overcompensate for something, like quite
For
honestly.
sure.
Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for bringing that up. Like,
Yeah.
I I don't think we've had many people on the podcast talk about the hustle, the grind, as it were. Um,
Yeah.
it's really unhealthy, honestly, and
Oh yeah.
like I personally used to do that all the time. Like, I needed to
Yeah.
involve myself in every project I could, and I needed to just put all the hours in that I could.
Yeah.
Because you're right, like there was that mindset I had where like I wanted to be, the next Jacob Collier or the
Hmm.
next like 21-year-old musician that just miracle had a miracle happen and made it.
Yeah.
Um, but that's just not how, the attention economy works. There's never going to be a state in which everybody is able to get that sort of fame or notoriety. And
Exactly. Like,
yeah.
no, like, like you hear all the time, it's on fucking coffee mugs. The grind don't stop. I'm like, no, it should literally stop at some point. Otherwise, you're literally gonna be like me, feeling burnt out at like 19 and like being depressed and just being like, damn it, like why aren't I working at like Sony or something? And it's just like, no, like fuck off, Jasper. Like who cares? You know what I mean? Like just like just like work hard. And again, like let's just like bring it to the music industry, because I guess this is what it's about. But just like the music industry, like we're all competing for the same 5 spots. You know what I mean? Like we're all trying to like bring coffee to people, blah blah blah, like kiss ass, eat ass, like whatever. But it's just the truth. Trust me, and trust me, like as someone who like, like sometimes people bring their music to me, and then like they're buttering me up, and then my brain is like, I obviously know what you're doing because I do this too, but it's like, like you got to be nice, you know what I mean? But it's just like, yeah, like literally it's like it's okay to take a day off, you know what I mean? And it's like I took a week off my day job just for like mental health and just because I like hate that job, but it's just like I still worked on my music, like I'm still recording a podcast, I'm still going to the studio, I'm still like working on marketing stuff and just a lot of other projects, because I feel like I really can't take a break. Otherwise, I just feel bad. You know what I mean? And it's like, why?
Hmm.
Like, like we have to like unlearn that and realize that there's more to life than career. And I think a lot of people have unfortunately made their career their life. So when they do get a day off work, or they do take their vacation hours, it's scary because they're like, what am I going to do? Like who actually am I?
Oh gosh.
You know what I mean?
That
And
is such
that's,
a harrowing thought.
yeah. And it's like, no, like figure yourself out, figure out what you like. And thankfully I do, but still,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, there are a few artists I know who have, I think at least, have found that balance in life.
Mm,
I kind of want to shout him out right now.
let's
Shout
do
out
it.
to Sarai, who goes by Pork Boy on the internet. Um, she is an incredible musician and songwriter. Got to see her perform at one of our shows a couple nights ago. Which was all, it's a treat as always. Um, but from what I've seen of Sarai's life, she has a very like pleasant life. She lives with her friends at like a shared house, and I guess she
Mhm.
has like she got the 40-hour work week kind of shit, that day job kind of shit. But she's making these popular songs that are getting a lot of traction on Spotify, and it seems like she's really balancing out the the two sides of how do you say what you were saying, making it
Work
so
life
that
balance. Yeah.
yes, my bad.
You're good.
I'm sometimes my words just kind of like slow to a halt.
You're good.
um, but yeah, it's really awesome to see when creators are able to be happy with what they're doing. They're not spiraling into these like states of like, oh, I just need to keep producing, but I can't because I'm burning out, and I'm like, and I it's just not sustainable like that. We definitely need to normalize people creating for the sake of creation and enjoying life outside of work, outside of the job and the grind. So again, I
Yeah.
got to thank you for bringing that up, dude, because I don't think I would have brought it up outside of this conversation. I really appreciate you bringing that to
Yeah.
the table.
I'm just like I'm just like, "Stop working hard." No, no, I think well, I mean, like, what's that saying? "Don't work harder, work smarter." You know what I mean? Like, just
For
I think
sure,
just, like, for artists out there, like, just, like, focus on making the most authentic art, like, quality over quantity. Like, don't be like, "Oh, I have to write 5 songs a day." No, I think I'd rather write 1 good song rather than 5 mediocre songs.
for
And
sure.
yeah, and just yeah. And no, I think it's also just about environment. Like I'm in New York and I'm 40 minutes from the city. The city is so fast paced. Like literally like people walk like, you know, 70 miles a day. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
we always have somewhere to be, but it's just like, just take that time. Just yeah, just figure yourself out, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so shout out to everybody, anybody, and everybody who's watching or listening to this. Um, if you feel like you have to be the next, I get who was that actress you were talking about?
Addison Ray.
If you have to be the next Addison Ray or the next Timothy Chalamet, Jacob Collier, any of those
Yeah.
actors or musicians or creatives who just really fucking made it young and in the prime of their life. It's like life isn't going to be like that for all of us. So I think it's just like better to kind of find peace in the fact that we all have things about our lives that we can enjoy and that we should cherish, like especially people.
Also, yeah, also, dude, like timing is everything. Like, like, yes, I finally remember what I was gonna say. Jesus H Christ. But um, you know, I'm a very impatient person. I like I just like want stuff done. You know what I mean? And and I, and like my client Andrew was just like, whoa, like because I feel like there's California time and there's like New York time, and I'm like, no, dude, we're on New York time. We're gonna like show the fuck up. We're gonna like go like 100 miles a minute.
Hmm.
But timing is everything. I think a lot of artists, you know, wanted to get their album out, but purposely postponed it when COVID hit, and that turned out to be a good thing. And so it's just sometimes it's not the best time to release your music. Sometimes you need something like, it's timing is everything, and it's hard to explain it. It's just like maybe something happens that shakes the world and your song happens to resonate with that. Like if your song was about empowerment, and then if it came out before Black Lives Matter, and then people were like, oh, it just didn't hit, but then during that time maybe more people would have felt it. So I know it sounds shitty to be like, oh, Black Lives Matter need to happen to like for a song to pop or whatever, but it's just like no, it's just like you know what I mean,
For
like
sure, for
sometimes
sure.
like yeah, like the timing has to line up for some things to happen for people, as in like a lot of Asian American artists, for example, are popping right now because of just the time. And that's great. I mean, like I'm actually Chinese American, and so to see more, we got Shang-Chi. We finally got an Asian superhero, and it's like we had to wait like how many, you know what I mean? And that was dumb. Like the movie is great, but
Yeah.
it's dumb on like how long we had to wait to get that. And
Hmm.
sometimes it's about timing. It's about, oh, Hollywood finally wants diversity and all this shit. It If you pay attention to that, but like,
Yeah.
yeah. So sometimes timing is everything too, and that's what I was trying to say there.
Hmm. I totally
Yeah,
get that. It's like that's kind of what I wanted to veer into. That it's a really silly thing when you think about it. It's like, oh, now Hollywood wants a Asian representation, or now Hollywood
yeah,
wants black representation or queer representation. It's like
yeah,
Hollywood wants this, but also people have been wanting this, like people outside of that creative sphere for
yeah,
ages. So it's
yeah,
like at some point, I think it would be so much more just like glorious and so much more empowering when people realize like we can't just let mainstream media and mainstream ideas be what determines representation or be what determines empowerment. At some point, that has to come from the ground. That has to come from your
yeah.
communities, and
Hmm.
that's why that's kind of why I do the Camerata in the first place, because like you can't always count on people who run the big corporations and who run the massive media conglomerates to really have their neck out for the indies, for people who are locally
Yeah,
based and people who are marginalized. In fact, I would say you probably shouldn't count on them at all. Um, it has to come from the ground. It has to come from your community. And the more that people try and incorporate empowerments and incorporate representation into what they are doing on their local scale, on their independent scale, the more we'll have actual representation rather than this, sort of faux representation that Hollywood creates for the sake of profit and profit only.
yeah. I mean, just to bounce off those two concepts, like number one, Hollywood is run by, um, dare I say, old white men who,
Oh,
quite frankly, don't get it. They don't get it. You know what I mean? Like they knew what sold back when they were young and like
hmm.
were on. Well, obviously they didn't have Twitter, but like they were like they were on it when they're on it, and it's the same thing with music. You know what I mean? Like yes, like those men have achieved so much, but it's like you don't know what's popping right now. You know what I mean? So it's like, why do you get to decide like, oh, this stuff music should be sold? No, no, no. Like music has completely shifted on how it was sold back when like you were 26. So it's just like, yeah, and like sometimes like you need to let people again, I guess, have more control, and also like for like people who just create because, oh, I want to be signed to a label, or oh, I'm gonna like wait until someone notices me. Like no, fuck that shit. Like 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 just create because you want to and for an authentic purpose, blah blah blah, whatever. But like like sometimes you have to create opportunities for yourself. Like I started songwriting not because like I was inspired, like I just started doing it. You know what I mean? And it was the first thing I was passionate about. I started managing talent because I wanted to. You know what I mean? Like and like there were barely any people that like looked like me on TV, so I wasn't one of those kids who needed to have somebody to inspire me. You know what I mean? Like I just did it cuz I wanted to do it. So I would just say like, again, like there's this quote like your fear of looking stupid is holding you back. Like just do it. Don't do it because, oh, I want to gain major label approval. And like dude, I think if you've got like a fan base of like um a solid number of people, there's this saying like if 100 people gave you like $100 a month, blah blah blah, add that up times 12, you can live. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So all you need is that core fan base, and you also need the ability to produce enough content to feed these people, and these people are attracted to you because of you, hence why they're paying you a three-digit number. So just, like that's all you need, just, and again, it goes back to being yourself. So therefore you attract those people instead of people who just latch onto you because of your one hit song or whatever, you know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah, I get you there. Um, yeah, all in all, focus on yourself, focus on your community. Um,
Hmm.
Success is great. Success in most cases is, it kind of creates a whole new opportunity for one's, standard of living and for how one can enjoy their life. But it definitely shouldn't be the gauge by which you gauge yourself. Like, gauge yourself by how people, appreciate your work and how people appreciate you as a person. Gauge yourself by how you contribute to your community. Um,
Hmm.
because, in the end, that truly is what will separate you from other artists. If you are a part of your community and if you give back when people give to you, um, yeah, that sort of shit. I do
Yeah.
want to ask, if you don't mind, we wind down the podcast a bit. Um, I remember you saying that you wanted to, share a bit of a song, an unreleased piece. So do you want to kind of, introduce that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so this is from my upcoming EP. I haven't dropped a project in like 4 years. So like I'm coming back. But like so the song is called Fucked Me Over, and it's probably like the most personal song on the record. It's just about like me like I think I went through this stage where I just like hooked up with like not like a lot, but like, like a fair amount of people.
Mm-hmm.
And because I was kind of like empty and just like needed somebody to like fill the void and whatever. Like my story's like not unique. So it's not interesting. But like but
I
like
totally
so
get
yeah, yeah. Hell yeah. Let's unite. But
that.
so basically it's kind of like I feel like a lot of music, it tends to like point the finger and be like, you're the problem, you're the reason why I'm fucked up, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of times that is very true. I'm not here to invalidate that. However, like the song's about me being like over 18 and like a legal ass adult. And most of these times I was sober. So it's just like, it's about taking accountability and like just taking a mature stance and being like, hey Jasper, like you're sober, like you're over 18, you're an adult, like, and you're letting these people like into your body. So it's just like and you're choosing these people, and then like you're sad after. So it's just like sometimes like you choose bad people, you know what I mean? So it's just like you should know better, and it's kind of like taking accountability, and it's just kind of like making peace with it. So it's just a very personal record, and I was very inspired by Amy Winehouse. I was inspired by Tame Impala. I love Kevin Parker. It's like the last concert I saw before COVID. His lighting
Mm.
is like fucking phenomenal. So shout out to those dudes. And then, oh, sorry, Amy. But yeah, shout out to Amy. I hope you're rocking with this. And yeah, I'm just here to share a little snippet. So yeah,
Awesome. All right. So
yeah,
we're just gonna play it here.
yep.
Everybody, hope you enjoy it. Here it goes.
Fall asleep with the lights on. Do I even know myself? Let someone else in. I feel like a cheap motel. We accept the love we think we deserve. But I love myself, but I still wanna hurt.
And this is where we cut back to the
Ba-ba-ba.
podcast.
Da-na-na-na-na-na-na.
Oh, that sounded amazing, Jasper. Awesome job.
Thank you so
Um,
much, dude.
but yeah, so sorry. I don't think
Improv. No, you're
we've ne-
good.
we've never done that on the cast before. I usually just kind of put it in. Somebody is like talking about their single, and it's like, oh yeah, they're single, and then we just cut to the
Okay, I
single.
got
It's
you.
like I never introduce it.
We
Um,
had to we had to improvise a little, yeah. But now we're
mhm.
back, so deep breaths. We're back a bit, yeah.
But
But
yeah, so again, winding down the cast. Thank you so much, Jasper, for wanting to be on our cast, on our show.
Of
And thank
course.
you for bringing up some really beautiful, thoughts and opinions regarding, art work, art life. Um,
Mm-hmm.
just so we can, just to plug your work. Do you want to, share where people can find, what you do, your management work, your music, anything like that?
Yeah. Hmm. I'll just share my IG because that has like my link tree and you can find my email, blah blah blah. But like, my IG is have empathy, HAVEMPATHY, and a lot of my friends will find that funny because they think I'm like the meanest person. But honestly, I'm a very nice person. So I hope anyone who hears this, I'm a pretty nice person. And yeah, so if you want to hit me up to work or consulting, or if you just need someone to talk to, like I got you. Let's chop it up.
That's awesome. Thank you. That you are a very nice person. I think I can tell that from here. I think that you've
Thanks.
got I don't know. I think you have yourself out for the people in your life, and that's always beautiful to see.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just very honest, and I think people need that. So, you know, like you got to mix like the sweet and the whatever, the salt. I don't know. But anyways, but yeah, yeah. Thank you so much for having me on.
no,
Yeah,
no problem at all.
yeah.
Yeah, and thank you to everybody for listening and or watching. This has been the Camerata Podcast with Jasper Low and Andres Marquez. I hope to catch y'all on the flip side on our next episode. Adios.